What's good? Let some of y'all get through here real quick. Make sure you hit that like button when you come through here. Make sure you hit that like button when you come through here. What's the deal? What is the deal? What is the deal? What is the deal? Make sure you hit that like button when you come through here now. Come on now. Let some of y'all get up in here before we get started real quick. You know what I'm saying? Let some of y'all get up in here before we get started. What's good? What's good? What's good with you? What's good? Yeah, what's the deal? What's the deal? What's the deal? Already. Let some of y'all fall through here real quick. All right, make sure you hit that like button now. Come on now, see y'all came through here. I see some people jumped up here, but the lights ain't going on. Make sure you hit that like button before we get started. We can talk about this AFC playoffs and exactly what's going down and what can all these teams do really to get into the playoffs. So let's get started with it. So right now, as it stands, this is how the AFC playoff stands is looking right now. You got Baltimore with the number one seed at 11-3. You have Miami at the second seed, 10-4. KC, Kansas City Chiefs at the 3 seed with 9-5. Jacksonville, the 4 seed at 8-6. That's all the division leaders. Then when you get to the wild card, you got Cleveland with the first wild card spot at 9-5, which is the 5 seed. You have Cincinnati Bengals, which is the 6 seed at 8-6. You have the Indianapolis Colts as the 7 seed, which is the last wild card spot at 8-6 as well. Then right outside the wild card, right outside the playoffs, you got the Houston Texans at the 8 seed at 8-6. You got the Buffalo Bills at the 9 seed at 8-6. You got Pittsburgh as the 10 seed at 7-7, and you have the Denver Broncos with the 11 seed at 7-7. As it stands right now, that's how it stands right now. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. I know what people are saying. Man, we beat the Cincinnati Bengals, and we have the same record. Why are they ahead of us in the playoffs? Normally, I would say, well, hey, just like with Pittsburgh, when two teams have the same record, more than two teams have the same record, they don't go with head-to-head tiebreakers. They normally go with conference record, but Cincinnati doesn't have a good conference record. Cincinnati is 3-6 in the conference, and the Texans are 5-4 in the conference. So to be honest, I really can't understand or explain to you honestly why they have the Cincinnati Bengals ahead of the Houston Texans. I don't understand the true tiebreaker, or why the Cincinnati Bengals are in that spot or slated in that spot as it stands right now. Only thing I can tell you is being a Texas fan, the Texans control their own destiny. If they win out, it doesn't matter. They will be in the playoffs. And so let's look at some of these teams following. Let's look at these teams following schedules. So as we all know, the Houston Texans this week are home against the Cleveland Browns. Next week, they're home against the Tennessee Titans, and they finish up the season at Indianapolis. The Indianapolis Colts, they are away at the Atlanta Falcons this week, home versus the Vegas Raiders, and home versus the Houston Texans. The Buffalo Bills are at the Los Angeles Chargers this week, home against New England, and at Miami at the end of the season off. The Cleveland Browns are at Houston this week, home against the New York Jets, and then at Cincinnati. The Cincinnati Bengals are at Pittsburgh this week, at Kansas City the week after that, home against Cleveland to finish off the season. The Pittsburgh Steelers are home this week against Cincinnati, at Seattle, and at Baltimore. And then the Denver Broncos are home against New England this week, home against the Los Angeles Chargers. Sorry about that. And then they finish up the season at Las Vegas. Those are all the teams that are vying for a wild card spot. Now, one of the things is that I think is very crucial. I think the Houston Texans definitely, possibly, in my opinion, they need to get for the division because as it stands right now, Jacksonville, we were going to look at Jacksonville record. Jacksonville is at Tampa Bay this week, home against the Carolina Panthers, and then at Tennessee to finish out the season. If the Jags lose one of those 3 games and the Texans win out, the Texans win the division. I actually have a strong feeling that I feel like the Jacksonville Jaguars will lose against Tampa Bay this week. I just have a strong feeling. I feel like they're going to lose against Tampa. So there's a good shot that Houston Texans could possibly win the division. Now, the flip side about that is I think Buffalo's going to get into the playoffs. I don't know if Buffalo's going to win their division because they have a shot to win the division. Because this is the Miami record. Miami schedule is home against Dallas, at Baltimore, and then home against Buffalo. Like I said about the Buffalo Bills record as it stands right now, I think they're going to win at least two. They're going to win the next two games. They're going to win Chargers and they're going to win against New England. Uh, I don't know if they're going to beat Miami. I feel like they possibly could beat Miami, and then I can see Miami losing a couple of those games. So if anything, especially when it comes to the Buffalo Bills, I wouldn't want to face them in Buffalo. That's the reason why I definitely want to get the division because if the Texans win the division, the Texans will actually have a better division record and conference record than the Buffalo Bills. I think they'll tie with the same record. They'll both end up being 11-6, but the Texans will have a better division and conference record. Well, it doesn't matter about a division record. They will have a better conference record than the Houston. They'll have a better conference record than the Buffalo Bills. So you wouldn't have to worry about going into Buffalo. You wouldn't have to worry about going to Buffalo. So that means that would get you from being the 4 seed. That would prop you up to being the 3 seed. So you wouldn't have to worry about ever going to Buffalo because you will be a higher seed than Buffalo. So if you ever face Buffalo, you'll face them in NRG. And that's another reason why you want the division. Because you want to make sure that you could possibly be able to get them inside, get them in the space, and get them in a potential that you possibly could actually end up winning the hosting was it? I'm trying to get hosting a conference championship game. You want to get into that type of situation. You want to get into that type of monster. You want to get into that type of situation. Like I said, as it stands, if you look at the AFC South standings, like I said, Jacksonville, Colts, Texans. That's how the standing is right now. Jacksonville. Even though we're all tied with 8-6 record, the reason why Jacksonville is sitting up there 4-1 in the division, the Colts are 3-2 in the division, and the Houston Texans are 2-2 in the division. Houston Texans, the only team that got 2 divisional games left. Both Indy and Jacksonville only have 1. Indy has the last game against Tennessee, which they're more than likely will win. And then the Colts have the last game against us. So the Texans can end up being 4-2 in the division, but we would need the Jacksonville Jaguars to have a worse record than us. We would need the Jacksonville Jaguars to have a worse record than us for us to potentially able to get into the division because other tiebreakers go into the mix, and the Texans don't really have those tiebreakers. So the Texans have to have a better record than Jacksonville because it's going to be hard. Even if they did lose to Tennessee, even if their next loss was to Tennessee, I still think that they might still. Well, no, we actually. Well, that would give us the same record. So yeah, never mind. Because if the Texans would lose a game, like say for instance they lose against Cleveland, they would have the same. Everything would be tied, and they all have the same exact record. So since they have all the same exact record, the Texans still, I think then it goes like the point differential and things of that nature, and then the Texans have a lot of close games. Like they have a lot of one possession wins and losses. So because of point differential, I don't think point differential actually will go into the Texan favor, unless we start getting some double digit type wins. So that's as it stands right now. And when you look at the percentages, when you look at the wild card teams, because I mean Baltimore's already clinched the playoff spot, and then Miami is like 1% off from clinching the playoff spot. So when you look at the teams that are in the wild card mix, Cleveland, which is the 5th seed right now, is at 88.9%, which is the highest percentage of all the wild card teams. Next up is the Texans. The Texans are still second in percentages to get to get a wild card berth at 59.1%. Right after that, it is the Indianapolis Colts at 58.7% to get into the playoffs, and that's the Buffalo Bills at 54.1% to get into the playoffs. After that would be the Cincinnati Bengals at 43.5% to get into the playoffs. After that will be the Denver Broncos at 17.6% to get into the playoffs. And then last off of all the wildcard teams is the Pittsburgh Steelers at 4.8% to get into the playoffs. So that's how the percentages stack up, how the race stacks up as it stands right now to get into the playoffs. As it stands right now, that's what the percentages, that's what the records, and that's what it looks like to get into the playoffs. I know a lot of people have been asking exactly about what would happen if the Texans do lose to Cleveland, and I've heard some things out there that this game doesn't mean that much because the Texans still have. I've heard crazy numbers like they still have like an 80% chance to make the playoffs even if they lose to the Cleveland Browns. I don't know what numbers they getting at because that doesn't make any sense. As it stands right now, before they even play a game, their percentages is at 59. So how can they lose a game and their percentages go up? This is the thing. As it stands right now, the Houston Texans they control their own destiny. They win, they end. They win, and Jacksonville drops the game, they win the division. If Jacksonville wins out and the Texans win out, the Texans still get into the wild card. If the Texans lose to the Cleveland Browns, they now need help to get into the playoffs. But this is the one thing that actually is a feather in the Texans' hat. On Saturday, the Cincinnati Bengals face the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right now, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Houston Texans are tied with the same record, 8-6. Texans do have the tiebreaker over the Cincinnati Bengals. If the Cincinnati Bengals lose against Pittsburgh, if the Cincinnati Bengals lose against Pittsburgh, the Houston Texans, even if they lose to Cleveland, will still control their own destiny. The reason why, because they have the tiebreaker. Because if the Cincinnati Bengals lose to Pittsburgh, that'll put them both at 8-7. If the Texans lose to the Browns, that will make them what? 8-7. All the teams will be 8-7. What that does mean is the Texans have a tiebreaker over Pittsburgh, over Cincinnati, over Denver. And they will just be a game behind the Indianapolis Colts. They still face the Indianapolis Colts, the last game of the season. And if they will beat the Indianapolis Colts, they will both have the same record. And the Texans will have a better conference, or have a better division record. Because as it stands right now, the Indianapolis Colts are 3-2 in the division. The Texans are 2-2 in the division. If the Texans drop the game to Cleveland, but still beat the Titans and beat the Titans and beat the Colts, they will split their head-to-head tiebreaker. But the Texans will be 4-2 in the division, and the Colts will be 3-3 in the division. Will give the Texans a better divisional record, and that will put the Texans to take the Colts spot out of the division. Take the Colts spot out of the playoffs. Even though Buffalo will have a better record, Buffalo will end up taking another team's spot. End up taking another team's spot, but that will put the Texans back in. That's why the Texans will control their own destiny if they lose to the Browns. If the Cincinnati Bengals beat Pittsburgh. Let me reiterate that. The Cincinnati Bengals must lose to Pittsburgh on Saturday. If the Cincinnati Bengals lose to Pittsburgh on Saturday, no matter what happens against the Texans versus Browns, the Texans still control their destiny. That's how they work. That's how the math works. But if the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Pittsburgh Steelers on Saturday, the Texans have to win out, or they will need help. Now, luckily, the Cincinnati Bengals do play Kansas City and they play Cleveland. But the bad thing about them facing Cleveland, even if they did beat Cleveland or lose to Cleveland, Cleveland will have the tiebreaker over you if Cleveland beats you on Sunday. So you would definitely need them to lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. So again, I don't want to think about this. So the whole thing is, you don't have to have this game against Cleveland. You don't got. No, I feel like you still need to have this game against Cleveland if you're trying to get into the playoffs. Because my whole thing is, I want to be in control of it. I don't want to have to win a game and have to sit back and watch and wait for somebody else to win or wait for somebody else to lose. We have this. We already doing that right now with the division because we don't control our path to the division. We have to hope Jacksonville loses another game, which they might, because I feel like they'll lose to Tampa Bay. We have to hope for them to lose another game for us to even get able to get into the AFC South to back into the AFC South race. That's because we lost we lost quote unquote the tiebreaker by losing that game in NRG a couple weeks ago. So that's how it stands now. Now I want to get into something because I know what people been talking about. We all know what happened this past week with the Houston Texans going up against Tennessee with Case Keenum, and we all seen the news the other day about CJ. Well, actually yesterday rather, that more than likely CJ is still in concussion. Well, not more than likely. CJ is still in concussion protocol. I think he's still suffering with light sensitivity, if I'm not mistaken, and still in the protocol, still having some symptoms, and is not going to be able to go. More than likely, not going to be able to go against the Cleveland Browns. And me personally speaking, this is just me. This is why I feel like. I feel like that he got a concussion in that Denver Bronco games 2 weeks ago. We all know I talked about it right after the Jets game when I was like, hey, I don't think CJ's going to play against the Tennessee Titans because of, and the reason why I said because remember, he got hit in the head on the quarterback sneak. They took him out. They checked him. He came back 2 plays later and played. And now sitting back thinking after him getting the concussion against the Jets and then having a whole week off, not practicing, not doing anything, and then coming back a week after that and still suffering sensitivity to light and still having concussion symptoms, and then going back and thinking, like, you know, after that issue, after that situation against the Denver Broncos, he didn't look the same. Because the defense was turning the football over and stopping Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos, and the offense couldn't put it away. And we just say, oh, we didn't have Tank Dell. Well, we lost Tank Dell in the first quarter. We lost Tank Dell in the first quarter on the Damian Pierce touchdown. So, and Nico was still balling after that. We really didn't see anything else out of the offense to, for that as a usual offense. Because that offense, what we should have been able to put that game away on the offensive side of the ball. And it came to Jimmy Ward catching the interception in the back of the end zone. I mean, we should have been able to put away the game on offense. And we didn't. The following week against the Jets, okay, it was pouring down rain, and we excused the first half. But that second half, Zach Wilson played well and was able to throw 300 yards in that game and 2 touchdowns. The latter of that coming in the second half, where he threw over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns in the second half because the rain slacked up. And CJ was only able to get 90 yards. Now, I know he had a drop pass by Noah Brown, a couple drop passes by Noah Brown, actually, and it had some other miscues. But sitting there thinking about, you know what? I think CJ was concussed in that game. I think CJ was serious. I think CJ had a concussion in that game. And I'm not talking about the concussion that he got at the end of the game. I'm thinking that he had concussion already after he got concussion in the Denver Bronco game, and he was still suffering from the concussion symptoms in that Jets game, and that's the reason why it was so lackluster, and that's the reason why he was able to easily get concussed later on in the game. Because from everything that I've heard from anybody who talks about concussions, people who previously had concussions, they all said that once you get a concussion, you're more vulnerable to get another one, especially if you come back too quickly. That's what happened with Tua last year. Once a guy gets a concussion and he comes back too quickly, he's vulnerable to get another concussion. So sitting back and thinking about it, like, you know what? I think he might have already had a concussion. That's the reason why he was so easily able to get the second concussion. And now the Texans are like, whoa, time out. I know we want to get to the playoffs. I understand it. It's vital. It's crucial. We everybody as a fan base, we want Rookie of the Year. We want MVP. We want to make a playoff push. But this right here is our future. This right here, this is the Maserati. This is the Lamborghini. This is the G-Wagon. This is the 7-room mansion. Whatever luxury item you want to think about, whatever hot luxury item you want to think of, that's what this kid is. He's the future. We don't want to risk that. We don't want long-term situations happening. We don't want to risk any of that right now. We don't want no long-term ramifications, anything risking that right now. That's not what we want. We don't want that happening right now. So we gotta be completely cautious and careful, because this is one thing I know some people were saying, like, I know some people say, well, if he think he had concussion in the Denver Bronco game, how was he able to play? Y'all seen the Creed movie? Y'all seen the Creed movie? Y'all remember in the first Creed when Creed gets his eye swollen and they trying to check him. They trying to check him, and Rocky taps him on the back of the head like 3 times. He said, "Well, how many fingers I'm holding up?" And he taps him on the head 3 times to let him know 3. And like the ref is like, okay, like he knew it was bull. He knew it was bull, but he called the number out, so I'm gonna let him walk. I'm gonna let him go. He said he's good to go, so I'm gonna let him go. I feel like I don't know what the concussion protocol, whatever happened in that blue tent, but they was able to do something. The public, remember, he hopped up, he hopped over the bench and everything before he ran up on the field. Something happened to push him into the direction, like, yeah, you might be a little woozy, man, we need you, because that was a crucial game. The Denver Broncos was a game behind, was tied the same record as you, right behind you in the playoff standings. They beat you, they on the tiebreaker against you, and they knocked you off a win-or-loss situation. So what that means is, right now, hey, we need this game. This is very crucial for us to get this game, and I feel like that. Then you get a concussion the next week. Now I think they pumping the brakes. Whoa, stop. They pumping the brakes right now. That's what they're doing. They pumping the brakes, and they're like, whoa, hey. We need to take time with this. We don't need to rush this kid back. We want to get to the playoffs. I understand that, but it's more important to have a long-term future seasons of success, future multiple Super Bowl runs, things like that. Not just a playoff push in his rookie year of 2023. We on him for the long haul for the next 10 to 15 plus years. We don't want to risk this, because we talking about guys who say, like in Troy Aikman, who said to this day he doesn't remember the NFC Championship game against the 49ers outside of watching the film and seeing that he played in the game. He doesn't remember anything about the game. You see, Shannon Sharp said about the AFC Championship game when they beat the Jets. He doesn't remember the second half of the game. Only thing he knows is that somebody told him that, hey, that somebody told him that, hey, we going to the Super Bowl. Hey, we going to the Super Bowl. That's all he knows. He doesn't remember playing in the game. So you want to be very, very crucial and cautious. Remember what happened with Fedorowicz. And the Texans realized that a guy had to step away and retire. I do believe that CJ will come back against the Titans. I do believe that. I don't think he's out for the rest of the season. I do believe he'll come back against the Titans. This is the thing, though. If he does not come back, that's very concerning. Extremely concerning. If he doesn't come back the rest of the season, that means that the Texans really dropped the ball against the Denver Broncos, because that means either that one or the one against the Jets is very, very crucial. It's a crucial concussion. It was it's worse than we initially thought. It's a very crucial concussion if it takes him out for 4 weeks. Because that means it's something he was already dealing with. Because again, like I said, guys who talk about concussion say once you get the first one and you're still like dealing with concussion symptoms, it's very easy for you to fall to another one. It's very easy for you to get another concussion. If you're dealing with concussion symptoms, it's very easy for you to get another one in that short time period. And that's when you start running into the trouble like Fedorowicz did. And the reason why Fedorowicz had to walk away, because he started getting into back to back. So because of that type of situation, that's when you got to sit back and think about, like, hey, whoa, like if that's the situation that is something that will take him out for the rest of the season, man. Because now we're talking about long-term situations. That's the reason why I hated the fact that it was a concussion. I know some people like, well, I'd rather be a concussion than anything else, than something with the shoulder, the knee, or the no. I'd rather it be a broken bone type situation. I'd rather it be that. I'd rather it be something that, because those things can get surgically, you have surgery on it. Yeah, it might be out there, you out for the season. All right, dang, that and we're in the middle of a playoff push. That sucks. It reminds you back what happened in 2017. I understand that. But at least it's not a head issue. Because when we talk about head issues, now we talk about people's careers and lives. And we talk about people sitting back like, hey, if he misses the last 4 to 5 games of the season off of one concussion, now we sit back. Now we can talk about somebody potentially sitting back contemplating some things. We don't want that type of situation. We do not want that type of situation in the slightest. Now, so that's why I was very, I ain't gonna say upset, but I was very nervous when they said it was a concussion issue against the Jets. And the first thing I thought about, like, man, he did get hit against the Broncos. I wonder. And this right here, to me personally, this right here confirms it. This situation of him not playing this week confirms it to me that that Broncos game he had a concussion. He had a concussion against the Broncos. Watching how he played the rest of that game and how he played up and played in the Jets game was not the CJ Stroud that we've been accustomed to for the previous 10 plus weeks. It was the same guy. The end of that Broncos game and then the game against the Jets, that was not the same guy. Wasn't playing the same way. Wasn't playing the same level of football. And because of that, I feel like okay, hey, if that's the case in that situation, going back and looking back and think about it, that wasn't that looking back at that situation. Hey, this concussion situation is more serious than we thought. Like I said, I do believe that he's going to play. I do believe that he's going to play against the Tennessee Titans on New Year's Eve because I don't think it was that serious. I mean, I ain't gonna say it like that. I do believe he's going to play against the. I do believe he's going to play against the Titans on New Year's Eve. Because I do think that he actually, I feel like he'll end up clearing concussion protocol sometime this week. I just don't think he'll play. I think he'll probably clear concussion protocol probably Friday or Saturday or something like that. I just don't think he'll play on Sunday. It just won't be enough time for him to play, or he should play. I just feel like he's going to end up clearing concussion protocol, and they'll hold him out this week, and he won't be able to be available this week, but he will be available for the said he will be available for the Tennessee Titans. So I'm not concerned about the Titans game or the Colts game, but I do think that they are taking their cautions, especially this the same organization that had to deal with CJ Fedorowicz just a couple years ago. The same thing, a guy who was trending upwards as far as we seen how he was looking with Brock Osweiler of all quarterbacks, able to make some plays and how he looked in the beginning of the season with Deshaun Watson, but start suffering concussion issues and start getting them more rapidly and back to back. I think he had got one in the preseason. He had got one like in the first game against Jacksonville, things like that. He started getting them real back to back, and because of that, and then also what we just seen last year out to it. We just seen last year out to it. So I don't think that I think they want to be very cautious because I think they know that they boo boo. I think they know they made a mistake in that Broncos game and they let football situations and football optics. Hey, we in the playoff push. All this, man, you'll be all right. You'll be all right, and go out there and play. And because he probably still was suffering from symptoms, and we just ain't know it because they wasn't checking him throughout the week because he wasn't in the protocol. That we go into the Jets game, and the Jets game happened, and he gets another one. They're like, yeah, hey, maybe he really, maybe we kind of pushed the issue a little bit. We kind of pushed the issue a little bit because we pushed the issue a little bit. We might put this guy in a little bit more danger. So let's chill out. Let's chill out. Let's chill out. Let's chill out. Let's sit back. Cause I think when Tank had his concussion protocol, I think Tank was in there for about. I think it took him 2 weeks to clear. I think it took him around 2 weeks to get cleared from his concussion protocol. So it is what it is. But like I said, I do think he'll be ready and think he will be ready and be available in the last regular season home game versus the Tennessee Titans. And also that game right there, Saul Sports is gonna be in the building. Me, Honcho, Swisher, Wise, Tenny, Hector, and some other guys too. Some other guys talk to too. They're gonna be in this. So the Saul Sports, we gonna be in the building. Y'all better be in the building. Make sure y'all go to the game. It's the last regular home season for the Houston Texans. Don't worry, CJ Stroud gonna be back in that game. So hey, make sure y'all get y'all tickets. Y'all be in the game. If y'all at the game, y'all see us, man, shout us out. Say what's up. You know what I'm saying? Say what's up. Say what's up to us. And shout out to my boy Honcho. I know he went live earlier today. I'm hoping y'all checked out his stream. But he go live every day at 7 o'clock, so make sure y'all check that boy out. Saw Sports out there, everybody in the round table. We gonna be in the building. Speaking of being in the building, make sure I get them likes. If I see more people than jumped in the building, but the likes ain't going up. Hey, make sure you're hitting that like button now. Come on. I know I've been ranting and raving for the past couple minutes. I ain't getting a chance to get to the comments yet, baby. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're hitting the like button already. So you think that Black Virginia. So you think that you just think it just came from the Jets game? You just think that the concussion came from the Jets game? I get you just saying like a dude throwing him to the ground, him getting a hard hit. Again, I believe he got concussion in that play, but they all say when you get a concussion, you are once you have one and still dealing with symptoms of one, you're vulnerable to get more. And the more that you get, the more that you get, you're even more vulnerable to get even more. So I'm not saying that the concussion he had against the Jets, well, he might have already had got that concussion anyway. But I feel like it's just kind of just the way it's looking. You got hit in the head when you try to do the quarterback sneak against Denver, and then 7 days later, less than 7 days later, you get another one. And the thing is, I'm just going by what I remember seeing. I just going by what I'm seeing that last couple of drives in the Broncos game after that incident. I gotta look back and see exactly what quarter that was when they got checked. When he got checked, I gotta go back and look and see exactly what quarter that was when Davis Mills got into the game. But I remember him not looking the same the rest of the game. Me not really thinking that much of it. Just it's just a hard fought game. And then again, the Jets game, sitting back again, the first half, I think it was mostly because of the weather. But that second half, and we've been saying it. We Texan fans have been saying that that didn't look like CJ. That did not look like CJ in that second half. And like dang, Zach Wilson won AFC Player of the Week. Like Zach Wilson won AFC Player of the Week. Like that game, that game did not look like CJ. That was not the CJ Stroud that we've been accustomed to. And I'm just going back off of the evidence. Like after seeing that, and then seeing that a week later he's still in concussion protocol. And like I said, Tank was in concussion protocol close to 14 days himself. We just had a bye week. We just had a bye week, so it kind of it kind of helped him out a little bit because we had a bye week around that time, so it really didn't matter because we didn't have another game. But possibly if we would have had another game, he would have missed 2 weeks as well. But seeing that, it just seemed like okay, maybe he was concussed. Maybe he was concussed against the Denver Broncos, and maybe he did have a concussion going into that game, and maybe he was dealing with some type of symptoms of a concussion walking into that Jets game, and that was part of the issue. I think again, a lot of things are fact. Because a lot of things can be more than one thing can be true. Like it could have been the rain. It could have been the Jets have a good defense. Robert Salah had a very good defensive plan. Nico and Tank both was out, so you didn't have any reliable receivers. All those things could be true, and all those things could be reasons why I think all those things could be a magnitude and a collection of reasons, and then also the guy who's pulling the trigger wasn't at his full strength, wasn't at his full self. All those things can be factors. All those things can be true. All those things can be bubble wrapped into one thing in one situation. Okay, that's kind of what's going on right here. That's exactly what's going on with this guy, with this kid. That he didn't have everything. He didn't have everything going right for him, and he was also dealing with this type of situation. This type of situation as well. So that really could be what it could be. You know what I'm saying? Like that really could be exactly what I feel. And again, now you're gonna go up there. You're gonna be going into this game with possibly Case or David Mills. I think it's probably gonna be Case Keenum again. I mean, he started last week. Why wouldn't he start this week? But I've heard some little rumblings that they could end up leaning with Davis Mills because of Kevin Stefanski actually knowing Case Keenum a lot. Like when Case Keenum had his best season in Minnesota, Stefanski was his quarterbacks coach. Uh, he also had Case Keenum in Cleveland about 2 years ago, and he actually won 2 games with Case Keenum as a starting quarterback. So knows the offense real well, and also Stefanski comes from the Kubiak type of tree. Again, he was the offensive coordinator. He was the quarterbacks coach. He was the quarterbacks coach in Minnesota when what you call it was the offense coordinator when Kubiak was offense coordinator. So he runs a form of the system. I don't think he runs the system directly, so he's going to know the tendencies of his offense that Bobby Sloak is going to be trying to do. So he's gonna know exactly. And then you don't have your biggest weapon in CJ out there. Nico Collins is supposed to be there. I think Nico Collins practiced today lightly, but I think he did show up at practice today. So you're gonna need possibly more likely to have Case Keenum. I guess that's the only reason why you wouldn't have Case Keenum. You want to throw out Davis Mills as a monkey wrench. I don't know how much trust you can have in Davis Mills after, especially after him being the backup all year long, and then giving him the football to try to win you a game to keep you in the playoff control factor at home after you made him the third string guy, like he was the backup all year, and then when it was probably his chance to get a start, you put him in as a backup. Even though they did trust him on the last play of the fourth quarter to try to throw a pass in the end zone, and he almost took a very crucial sack. And same thing with Case Keenum. Like Case Keenum made a lot of bonehead mistakes in that game. Like we want to be honest and want to be real. Like yeah, he had the pick six, and he should have had three more other picks. Like one pick he threw. I don't care. Like they played Dalton Schultz. Case Keenum threw an interception. I know Dalton Schultz got the reception. Case Keenum threw an interception. And Dalton Schultz just ripped the football out of the DB's hand. But Case threw an interception. Case almost threw another pick six on the opposite side. The DB broke on the ball perfectly. It was just I think Noah Brown had broke it up, or that was going to be a pick six, and he threw what should have been another pick in the middle of the end zone anyway. I mean, in the middle of the field. Another part of the game too. So he had one pick six. He should have had three more picks. So he should have had four picks in that game and two pick sixes, honestly. And a pick to end the game. Then in overtime, that sack that he took on the second to last drive was a horrendous sack. It was damn near a safety. Like the sack was damn near a safety. You damn near gave up the game right there because the safety is if it's a safety right there, and then the game is over. So he damn near gave up the game right then and there. Like he damn near gave up the game right then and there. So save. I mean, Case Keenum is not a safe bet. He's not a safe bet at all. Like he's not. He like he he's not a safe bet at all. Like Case Keenum is not a safe bet in the slightest. But neither is Davis Mills. So it's gonna be a tough battle. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna fake it. Like I said, Cleveland is a good football team. I know with or without Deshaun Watson, mostly without Deshaun Watson, because they winning not because of Deshaun Watson, they win because their team is loaded. And realistically, we all know that Deshaun took their team because of the money. But I think people were saying this before the trade that the Cleveland had the best situation as far as talent around out of out of the Browns, the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Saints. Cleveland had the best talent around him, but he didn't want to go to Cleveland. That's why he exited Cleveland off. But Cleveland wanted to throw the bag at him. Cleveland wanted to throw the bag at him, threw the bag at him, and they winning. But well, the Cleveland's going Cleveland's benefit is going to get. They're going to get out of get scrutinized when it comes to that trade because the team actually is a good team. They gave up multiple draft assets and a contract to give to a guy that is not worth it as it stands right now. Deshaun Watson is not worth that money or or what they've or what they gave him. They're not worth all that, and for him to do that, I mean, but they're still winning, so they're not going to get scrutinized like a team. Like Cleveland was looking like Carolina, they'll get scrutinized for it. But because Cleveland's still winning football games and a damn good football team, they're not going to get scrutinized for it. Hey, and shout out to that boy Professor Trill for Super Chat Love. Definitely appreciate that. You look like kid and play at the same time. Really? Really, Trill? Really? Really? That's what you going to do, bro? So that's how you going to do your boy? I look like kid and play. How? I guess I get played because like the skin. He ain't nothing like kid. Like this hair ain't nothing like kid. It's actually more like play. The kid is the hair is more like play. It's nothing like kid. But shout out to Trill for the Super Chat Love. Shout out to Trill for Super Chat Love. You could have if you again you want to criticize and talk about me, Trill. You can send more than $2 tip. Hey, you can send more than $2. You want to talk about me. You want to clown me. You can do that, but nah, man. Shout out to Trill for the super chat love. Definitely appreciate that. But but like I said, so this is a situation, especially when it comes to, as I said, this is the playoff show. So the Texans, as it stands right now, like I said, the Texans control their own destiny to get into the playoffs. Texans win, they in. The simple and plain. Texans win their 3 games, they in. No matter what else happens around the NFL, the Texans beat Cleveland, beat Tennessee, beat Indianapolis. The Texans will be playing an extra game. If they do that and Jacksonville loses one of the next 3 games, the Texans will be hosting the playoff game. If no matter what else happens in the NFL, if the Texans do that, Jacksonville loses a game and Buffalo wins their division, the Texans not only be hosting the playoff game, the Texans will be put into the 3rd seed spot, which gives them a strong possibility to be hosting the playoff, be hosting an AFC Championship game. Because again, Texas will automatically have to go on the road in the divisional round. Like the Texans, unless unless they're the 2 seed, the 2 seed will be on the team that will host a divisional. That's guaranteed to host a divisional game if they win, because the 3 seed and the 3 seed and the 4 seed are not. The 3 and the 4 seed are not. They actually, yeah, like the 3 and the 4 seed are not guaranteed to. They're not guaranteed to host a divisional game. Only 2 seeds that are guaranteed to host the divisional game is the 1 seed, because they'll be put at home in the divisional game, and the 2 seed, because the 2 seed won't play the home seed unless it's the AFC Championship game. And then the Texans, like I said, whoever is the 3 seed has a strong possibility. They just don't have to face it. As long as they don't go up against a 1 or a 2, they'll be able to host the AFC Championship game. So like that's really how that will go. And again, especially like in this in the AFC, like there's a strong possibility that things can break right in any of these teams that have any of these teams that win the division could be sitting there hosting the AFC Championship game. Because I can see Baltimore losing their first game. I can see Miami losing their first game. KC losing their first game. Buffalo lose. Like I could, anybody who could win a division, I can see them losing and not being able to make it to the AFC Championship game. And if you have a division in your pocket, which means you get to host the game, like because the only things that are guaranteed is the 1 seed is guaranteed to play every game at home, and the 7 seed is guaranteed to play every game on the road. Other than that, technically, any of the teams in the playoffs. Oh yeah, and then obviously 2, 3, and 4 are guaranteed to play a game at home. But other than that, we're guaranteed to play 1 game at home. Other than that, anybody else can host a championship game. So there is a possibility that you could end up hosting the championship game if then that situation where things have to break right, also you have to handle your business. That's part of the reason why I want the Texans to get to the division. Now, if the Texans lose to the Cleveland Browns, they will need some help because they will lose control of their destiny. They will lose control to punch their ticket if they lose to the Browns, unless the Cincinnati Bengals lose to Pittsburgh. Because if Cincinnati lose to Pittsburgh, like I say, right now the Cincinnati Bengals, Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, and Buffalo Bills are all tied at 8-6. Pittsburgh and Denver are both tied at 7-7. If because Cleveland plays Pittsburgh on Saturday night. If Cincinnati loses to Pittsburgh on Saturday night, they lose to Pittsburgh on Saturday night. That puts them at 8-7. Puts Pittsburgh at 8-7. No matter what Denver does, who Denver got this week? Denver got New England. Say Denver beats New England. Say they beat New England. That puts them all at 8-7. The Texans lose to the Browns. That also makes them 8-7. the Texans have the tiebreaker over those three teams. Now Buffalo beats and Buffalo beats the Chargers. That puts Buffalo into the playoffs right there. But Buffalo beats the Chargers. That inserts and puts that inserts and keeps Buffalo in the playoffs because they'll take Cincinnati spot. Buffalo will take Cincinnati spot. But the Texans will still control what they control because everybody else, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Denver will be behind them in the playoff spot. And the Texans still got a chance to knock off Indianapolis Colts the last game of the season. That's the reason why they still control their destiny. That's the reason why the Texans have the second highest playoff odds of all the wild card teams. Again, the playoff odds of the odds. I'm sorry. The percentage of making the playoffs of all the wild card all the wild card teams. Cleveland has the highest at 88.9, and they're the fifth seed. Next is the Texans. As it stands right now, they are the 8th seed, but they have the second highest percentage to make the playoffs at 59.1%, over 50%. So a good chance, still not the best chance, but a good chance. Right after that, Indianapolis Colts, who are the 7th seed, who are actually in the playoffs as it stands right now, they have a chance at 58.7% to make the playoffs. After that is the Buffalo Bills, who's the 9th seed, who's outside the playoffs. They have a 54.1% chance to make the playoffs. Then after that is the Cincinnati Bengals at the 6th seed at 43.5% chance to make the playoffs. After that is Denver at 17.6% chance to make the playoffs. And then last is Pittsburgh, who's the 10th seed at 4.8% chance to make the playoffs. And a lot of that got to do with scheduling, like that. I think that's why that happens. All that is basically off of scheduling. They're looking at one Cleveland because Cleveland already has 9 wins. So even if Cleveland loses out, Cleveland has a winning record. And Cleveland plays. Then Cleveland has the Jets on their record. Like Cleveland's schedule is Houston at Houston, home against the Jets. They got the Jets at home against the Jets, and then at Cincinnati with a backup quarterback. They feel like they probably have a good chance to win one of those 3 games. If they win one of those 3 games, they give them 10 wins. They're probably going to be in. It's going to be hard pressed for some other teams to get in. Then you look at Buffalo. The reason why Buffalo has a high percentage chance is Buffalo's schedule is home against the Chargers at New England. At the Chargers, home against New England, which is probably 2 easy dubs. It's the at Miami that they could possibly lose, but they also could possibly win because they already beat Miami this season, but that was in Buffalo. This was going to be at Miami, and Miami's competing for the number 1 seed because Miami actually plays Baltimore. That's who Miami plays the week before they play Buffalo. So a lot of things are factors in the situation. The Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are at Atlanta, home against Vegas, home against Houston. 2 of those 3 games are at home, and one's against the Vegas Raiders, another one is at the Atlanta Falcons. And I think they feel like that they can probably win 2 of those 3 games. That's why they have the 3rd highest player percentage. Then we look at a team like Pittsburgh dealing with a backup quarterback, and they have home against Cincy. Then the last 2 games is at Seattle and at Baltimore. They're probably going to lose those last 2 games. Might lose all 3. So that's why they have the lowest percent chance, and they don't have any tiebreakers. I think they have the tiebreaker over Cincy. I do believe they have. Yeah, they do. They have the tiebreaker over Cincy, but that's about it. The tiebreaker over Cincy, but that's about it. Then you have the Denver Broncos, who they have home against New England, home against the Chargers, and at Vegas. Denver actually went out and have 10 wins. That's the reason why they have a higher percentage chance, but they don't have the tiebreaker against Houston, and Houston has a game ahead of them. And I don't believe they have the tiebreaker. I don't think they have the tiebreaker against Buffalo either. And as it stands right now, they don't have the tie. They wouldn't have the tiebreaker against. They wouldn't have the tiebreaker against Indy. Even if Indy loses one more, even if Indy loses to the Texans, they wouldn't have the tiebreaker over Indy either. So that's part. Like so, like that's the reason why they're so low. They have a chance, but all these other teams need things to happen. The Texans and the Bills are the only 2 teams. Texans, Bills, and Texans, obviously Cleveland. Cleveland, Texans, Bills, and Colts are the only teams that don't need things to happen. Actually, I think the Bills do need things to happen. Never mind, the Bills. The Bills do and don't because they know that the Texans and the Colts play each other. So that's going to take care of itself. One of the teams is going to win. Like one of the teams is going to win, which is going to knock the other one out. Um, this is more likely going to knock the other one out. Well yeah, it would give the Bills a better record. Yeah, so actually the Bills do. Yeah, so the Bills. So the Cleveland Browns, the Indianapolis Colts, Houston Texans, Buffalo Bills, the only teams that control they play, control their destiny. Cleveland's already in, so as it stands right now. Indy's in, and the Texans and the Bills are both trying to get in. And the Texans and the Colts play each other. So, like I said, that game, the end of the season, more than likely is going to be for a playoff spot. Um, a lot of games are actually going to come down to. I mean, a lot of games are going to come down to the last game of the season. Like that Buffalo Miami game might go for the division. So they're probably going to move that to a primetime game. I know a lot of people like, no, maybe the Texans can get moved to a primetime game. That game against the Colts. If it does, it'll probably more likely get moved to the Saturday game. I'm thinking. If it does get moved to, if that game does get put into a primetime situation, uh, it's probably gonna get put to a Monday night not Monday night, a Saturday night primetime game situation, so they can actually so they can use some of that. But again, they might not. Who knows? Especially what's going on with the CJ situation. That's a huge part because that's the real reason why they upset that they didn't get any chance and any opportunity uh, um to flex the Texans up. Like the game that would been worth flexing was a game that a lot of people actually we said this as the season was going on that they should flex that Jags game and if I'm not mistaken, I think we brought up the Broncos game too. Both those games were good games. Both those games came down to the wire. Uh, but I'm trying to I think the Broncos game. That's when the Chiefs and the Chargers were playing. The Chiefs and somebody was playing, and they wasn't gonna move Pat. They weren't gonna move Pat for CJ and Russell Wilson. And then the Jazz game. I think they just sat on it too long and they waited too late. I know they were flirting with the Jets game. It's a good thing that they didn't flex that Jets game. Even though I think maybe possibly they would have flexed that Jets game, it actually would have been a better game because it wouldn't have been in the rain. Because that was the same night as that's when they had what game was that? The Giants and the Packers played in the same exact stadium, and it wasn't too bad. I think if they would have flexed it, the Texans would have been out of the rain. And I feel like maybe possibly CJ, if he was dealing with some issues from the Broncos game, he would have got past that by then. And because of getting past that by then, it wouldn't have been a problem. It wouldn't have been an issue. We could have had a fully healthy CJ, a better performance for the Texans, and then possibly a better performance for the Texans, possibly a better win and or win, and we could be in a different situation. But again, the two games that should have gotten flicks, the Jags and the Broncos game didn't. Uh, I know we kind of thought about maybe this Browns game, but because it's on Christmas Eve and the way they got the game slated, it was kind of really hard to do that too. Like it was kind of really hard to do too. Then you don't have CJ. So I mean, and again, that actually happened a couple years ago. Even though it wasn't flex, it was Christmas Day, the Texans versus the Pittsburgh in 2017, and Deshaun Watson didn't play because that's when he got hurt, and it was a blowout game. Pittsburgh blew out the Texans on Christmas Day, so it is what it is. I think Houston is just trying to keep Stroud on the down low so they don't take focus on his tape. I don't think he's playing. Nah, Ruben. Nah, I don't. I would love for CJ to play. I don't think he's gonna play on Sunday. I don't think he's gonna play. How we gonna get there? We ain't got. I mean the defense. I mean, we gotta have the running game and defense. Like we got. I think that finally Bobby Slowick has understood. Give the ball, which I've been saying for weeks now. Give the ball to Devin Singletary and just let him run the football. Let him run the football. Don't even try to experiment with Damian Pierce. I mean, the kid is what he's less than 300 yards away from 1,000. He's at 711 right now. So he's less than 300 yards away from 1,000. So give him the ball. And again, this is going to be again Cleveland. I think Cleveland's run defense is like 15th or 16th or something like that. So it's like middle of the pack run defense. So you should be able to move the ball on the ground. Again, Kingdom, by the way, scares you. But you should be able to run the football and make plays on the ground, use some short little screen games, stuff like that. Your defense, because Joe Flacco threw 3 interceptions last week. So he again, like I said about what you call it, he gonna put the ball in play. he gonna put the ball. He gonna put the ball in play. Now your DBs, who had some great breaks on the ball last week against the Titans. Yeah, they got their hands on the football all the time. They wasn't only they would come up with 1 interception, but they got a couple pass deflections in that game. We could turn some of those pass deflections into defensive point. Not just turnovers. We need defensive points. We need pick sixes. We need scoop and scores. We need some points on the defensive end. We need some points on defensive special teams. That's what we need. That's what this offense is needing without CJ Stroud. You need more points on the defensive side of the football, on the special team side of the football. You need to find other ways to create points because we have gotten turnovers. We haven't been able to convert those turnovers into touchdowns. Last week, I don't think we even turned them into points. Well, no, we did. We turned them into 3. We got to find a way to turn those turnovers into points. Big points, not field goals, touchdowns. We need to find a way to turn those turnovers into points and the touchdowns. That's how you're going to win this game. And again, if the Texans win this game, it definitely puts them in a strong perspective to get into the playoffs. In a strong perspective against the playoffs. And again, I believe that CJ will be back the week after. I feel like he will be back again against the Titans. So you need either Case or what you call it to keep you above float for 1 more week. You need it for 1 more week to keep you above float. You just need it for 1 more week to keep you above float. The round table, we're gonna be at the game. If I'm not mistaken, we're gonna be in the 100 section. We're gonna be in the 100. I know. I'm in 118. I'm gonna be in 118. And I think we all gonna be around there like 118, 119, somewhere in that. Somewhere we all gonna be close in the same section. So basically, make sure y'all pull up. Y'all pull up. We gonna be in there loud, ready to go. So make sure y'all pull up, man. Make sure y'all pull up, man. Make sure y'all pull up. Who do I not want to see in the playoffs? Fully healthy, man. Like I said, I feel like we can beat every team in the playoffs because they're all flawed. Honestly, I think the toughest team in the AFC, as it stands right now, is the team that's not in the playoffs, and that's Buffalo. Buffalo, I think Buffalo, uh, Buffalo, Miami. Miami because of Tyreek Hill and that speed, and we seen it. Like I seen it firsthand at the practices, at the practice, and that speed was definitely getting at him. And then Buffalo, especially if you got to go up to Buffalo. Especially if you got to go up to Buffalo. That's something I don't want to see. I don't want to see them go up into Buffalo. So, but yeah, because everybody else, I feel like the Texans have a way, especially with CJ, have a way to do what they need to do. I think Buffalo and Miami will be the two toughest. Uh, be the two toughest. I'm so happy we made it. Yeah, yeah, the run defense, was very impressive. I'm not mistaken, I think we're like sixth in run defense right now. A very strong performance. Uh, One of the best run stopping performances I've seen. Houston Texans able to do that. That front did exactly. The defense put the complete clamps on the game. That's what I say. Like, some people like Case Keenum. Like, really, to be honest, the defense. We won that game because the defense put the clamps on the Tennessee Titans or Oilers, whatever you want to call them. So, well, what are they going by this week? What 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 are they going by? Like, what's their name going to this week? Like, what's their name going to the week? But I know this is a joke, but no, but seriously, uh, the defense put clamps on them, like from the secondary and them applying the pressure that they apply on Will Levis, and then obviously like Derrick Henry could not move at all. Derrick Henry, I think, was I think like the first player in NFL history to over 20 over 20 touches and have less than 15 yards or 15 yards or less. Like first player in NFL history. They had that many was able to touch the football that many times and not able to muster yard. He had 16 carries, only had 9 yards. Like he was being stuffed in the backfield all the whole game. And this is why DJ Reader, because remember, when the Texans had DJ Reader, Derrick Henry could not do nothing against the Texans. From 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019. Remember, 2019 at Tennessee, at Tennessee, well, I think did we win the division that game? No, we won the division the following game against Tampa. But we in the Tennessee, and that's when Derrick Henry led the league in rushing, and he was rushing all over everybody. And we put the stop. We had, well, I think he had like 80 yards or something like that, like 80 some yards. If that, he had less than 90 yards against us, which I think was his worst rushing performance of that year. That was his worst rushing performance of that year. Was that game against us? Now the last game of the season, remember it was the skeleton crew game. Ain't nobody played. Deshaun ain't played. Hopkins ain't played. Kenny Stills ain't played. Larry Tunsil ain't played. None of the guys played. DJ Reader did not play. We treated it like a preseason game because we had clinched the division already. No matter we win or lose, our spot wasn't going to move in the seedings from the playoff. We weren't going to get a better seed or a worse seed. We were already stamped and approved. Seed wasn't going to move. Wasn't no reason to play. So we treated it like a preseason game. We didn't even let nobody even go out there and get no reps. We completely treated it like a preseason game. The guys dress out, and they stayed on the sideline, and we let the skeleton crew go in with AJ McCarron starting and things like that. And Derrick Henry, that's when Derrick Henry got his first 200-yard game against the Texans. That's when he got his first 200-yard game against the Texans, and they got into the playoffs. And they all went to the AFC Championship game and lost to the Chiefs. After that, remember, we let go of Derrick Reader. DJ Reader, sorry, I call him Derrick. DJ Reader. We let DJ Reader walk and go to the Cincinnati Bengals. And then after that was the onslaught of Derrick Henry rushing for 200 yards against the Texans. And again, since he did it so many times that it kind of sounds very petty and very, well, if when you bring up, well, the first one wasn't real. Like the first one, he did it because it was like we didn't play anybody. But then after that, it's like, okay, yeah, that might have been the case then, but he's constantly doing it. So then no one cares. So we're gonna put up the graphic that he rushed in 5 games, has 200. He rushed for 200 yards in 4 of the last 5 games. We're gonna constantly bring it up. We don't care the nuances of the first time he played. The first time he did it was against a whole bunch of backups. We're not gonna talk about that because it doesn't even matter because he's still doing it. So you're still letting him and allowing him to do it. So you can't really cry about it now. There's no point of crying about it because he's constantly doing it. You just have to sit there. So after that, without DJ Reader, I've been saying that was the problem. You didn't have DJ Reader in the middle plugging up the run and stopping the run. Derrick Henry was able to run up through the middle, up to the gut, run the outside, whatever Derrick Henry needs to do to get a head steam. He's like the juggernaut. Like once he starts moving, you can't stop him, and that's exactly what he does. Like the Juggernaut from X-Men, like he just constantly just moves and once he gets to going, gets to running, you can't really stop him. So and that will continuously happen in 2020 and in 2000 and we didn't play him in 21. Yeah, we didn't play him in 21. That's what happened in 2020. And what happened last year? I think he had 20 yards. Yeah, he did. He had 20 yards against us last year in that game in that game against what's his name? Will Levis. Will Levis was the starting quarterback. I'm not Will Levis. That's their starting quarterback. Uh, 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 um, what's his name? Willis. 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 What's his first name? Is it Will Levis? No, Will Levis. Malik Willis, that's his name. Malik Willis. When Malik Willis was the start, when Malik Willis was the starter, like when Malik Willis was the starter, he was able to run the football. He was able to run the football in that game. I think he had over 20 yards in that game. No, I think he like broke like Earl Campbell's record, or something that magnitude, like became the all-time leading rusher, or Pat or something like that. Like he became some with the Titans rushing thing in that game too, if I'm not mistaken. So that's just end of what's happening. So I'm so glad that the Texans was able to do it without a Derek Reed. I mean a DJ Reed, without a DJ Reed, and it showed you exactly what D'Amico Ryans can be capable of. Like I said, going to that game, hey, I needed that to be a D'Amico Ryans game. I need D'Amico Ryans to show that he can do it. I mean, we seen it with Robert Salah. We seen it with the other guys. We need to see that D'Amico Ryans does not need those guys out there in San Francisco. He don't need those players at the back. He doesn't need a Nick Bosa and all those guys. And again, you would love to have those kind of guys. Those are the type of guys that you want. But that show the fact that you don't need those type of guys to put the clamps in. Or we have those same caliber guys here in Houston to be able to put the clamps on their team, and that's what we're able to do. I think Derrick Henry, I think that's his worst rushing career of his life. I think he's never had a 9-yard game in any capacity, high school or college, especially in the pros. So I mean, it was a great performance. I'm glad we was able to get it done. I'm extremely glad that we was able to get it done. I appreciate you talking about the hoodie clean. I got it out of Foot Locker in Memorial City. I got it out of Foot Locker in Memorial. We do the Andre Johnson. If I'm not mistaken, I think Andre new units drop this week. Well, I think like at the game on Sunday. I think whatever it is he's supposed to be wearing, supposed to be dropping this Sunday. Like probably will be selling at the team shop. So we'll see exactly what Andre and his brother. I mean, if y'all don't know, Andre's brother has a clothing brand called Team 80. He's had that for years. I mean, he's had Team 80. So I'm pretty sure you seen Andre with the hat. It's like it's the number 80 and got like a little crown like type situation on it. And if you look at the way the 8 is, the way it's kind of like cut, like the way the 8 is cut, it's cut to make an A and a J. So it's like the A and the J stand for Andre. Well, I mean, I stand for Andre Johnson. I mean, like the A and the J stand for Andre Johnson, and then like the name of it makes 80. Like the name of the brand is called Team 80. Like he's had it. Like I remember it back in 2014. So he's had it for a while. Just like I've seen Andre with the Team 80 hat. I've seen his brother with a Team 80 shirt. Like it was very like just really like print and press type situation. Uh, I think he's always sold them, but I don't think it's never really just been nothing too major. But they're doing a collab with the Texans. Uh, they're doing a collab with the Texans. It's supposed to be at a team shop. And it's supposed to be supposed to be debuting for the Christmas Eve game. So we'll see. We'll see exactly what it is. We'll see exactly what type of merch it is. Is it a hat? Is it shirts? Is it hoodies? Because Dre, y'all be talking about me, boy. Dre be having like the cleanest Texan merchandise. Like Dre be having like the. I think it was like the Saints game. He had like a cream color Texan hoodie. That thing was clean. Like that hoodie was clean. Like Dre be having all the fresh gear. Like they make sure they get Dre all. They make sure they get Dre all the fresh gear. And I think he even made a joke something. He know where the warehouse is. So that boy said, "Shout out from Corpus Christi." Shout out Corpus Christi. But yeah, so um, we'll see, man. We'll see exactly what it's looking like. We'll see exactly what it's looking like. But like I said, man, appreciate everybody that came through here today. Man, appreciate everybody that came through. Show some love. Hit the like button already. Make sure you hit that like button. Shout out to the boy Professor Tripp for the super chat love. Definitely appreciate that. Like I said, if you ain't hit that like button, make sure you hit that like button. What about to say? Make sure y'all tune in to Soft Sports every day, every night, 7 o'clock. Make sure y'all be tuned back in here on Friday, 8:15 on Friday. You know what I'm saying? On Friday, we gonna break down, we gonna preview the Texans versus the Browns. We gonna get on to the nitty gritty, exactly the keys to the game, and exactly what the Houston Texans got to and need to do against the Cleveland Browns to come away with a victory, and how important it is to come away with a victory. We're gonna talk about, we're gonna break it down. Also, before the game on Sunday, tune in to my boy Honcho on Soft Sports, doing the pregame show, and then after the game, you already know where to pull up at right here after the show. After the game, right here, where your boy gonna break down, have a live breakdown and recap of what we just seen exactly and what the Texans stand. Then you already know it's gonna happen next week. Next Wednesday, we're gonna do another breakdown preview and see exactly what the numbers looking like, crunching everything, exactly what we need, what gotta get done to get into the playoffs. And then the same thing on Friday, we're gonna preview the upcoming game against the Tennessee Titans. All that good fun stuff. So make sure you hitting that like button if you ain't hitting already. If you ain't subscribed, man, make sure you subscribe. And if you ain't subscribed, I don't know what you're tripping on. Make sure you subscribe. And also, man, we still in the race to get to 6,000 subscribers. And we moving. The subscriber list is moving. I see y'all. Y'all there doing y'all work. I see the subscriber list is moving up. It's moving up. It's moving up. But, hey, I need you to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell another friend. So they can tell friends. They can tell some more friends and put them on game with the channel, man. I'm trying to get to 6,000 subscribers. I need y'all help. I can't do it without y'all. I need y'all to like, share, subscribe, and I need you to tell a friend, tell another friend, tell some more friends, so they can tell some friends and put them on game with the channel. Definitely, really, really appreciate that. But before I go, I'm gonna break it down one more time for y'all who some of y'all that just jumped in. One more time, as it stands right now, number one seed, Baltimore Ravens at 11-5. Miami Dolphins, number two seed at 10-4. The Kansas City Chiefs, the 3 seed at 8-5. Jacksonville, the 4 seed at 8-6. Cleveland is the first wild card team, the 5 seed at 9-5. Cincy is the 6 seed at 8-6. Indy is the 7 seed at 8-6. And then outside of the playoffs, the Texans are the 8 seed at 8-6. Buffalo is the 9 seed at 8-6. Pittsburgh is the 10 seed at 7-7, and Denver is the 11 seed at 7-7. As it stands right now, the Cleveland Browns have the highest playoff percentage chance to make the playoffs at 88.9%. The Texans have the second highest to make, and these are the wild card teams. And Houston have the second highest percentage to make the playoff of the wild card teams at 59.1%. Next is the Indianapolis Colts at 58.7%. After that is Buffalo at 54.1%. After that is Cincinnati at 43.5%. After that is Denver at 17.6%. And after that is Pittsburgh at 4.8% to make the playoffs. Those are the playoff percentage chances to make the playoffs as it stands right now. Uh, the teams who control their own destiny: Cleveland, Houston, Indianapolis, and Buffalo. They win out, they in. Cleveland wins out, they in. Cleveland can actually lose a game and still win. Cleveland can lose a game and make it. Indy, the Texans they win out, they in because they play Indy. Indy, they win out because they play the Texans, they in. Buffalo, if they went out because of Houston and Indy playing against each other, they can get in. Actually, I take that back. Buffalo can't get in if they went out. I just looked at that. Because if Cincinnati wins out and the Texans, if Cincinnati wins out, then they can't get in. But Cincinnati doesn't even control their destiny, even if they went out. That's crazy. But they can stop what you call them getting in. That's actually crazy. That's actually crazy. That's weird. That's wild. But those are the those right there are the playoff situations and scenarios. Also, 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 the Texans can still control their destiny to make the playoffs if Cincy loses to Pittsburgh on Saturday. If Cincy loses to Pittsburgh on Saturday, the Texans can still control their destiny to make it to the playoffs. They have, like I said, they need them to win. I mean, need them to lose. They need Cincy to lose. And if Cincy lose and the Texans lose to the Browns, the Texans still control their destiny after that because all the teams will still have a 7-7 record. I'm sorry, 8-7 record. I'm sorry, all have an 8-7 record and still have a chance to make it into the playoffs. Instead of a chance not only make it to the playoffs, but have a chance to control their destiny to get into the playoffs. So the Texans still are in a good situation, even if they do lose this game to Cleveland, if once again, if the Cincinnati Bengals, if the Cincinnati Bengals win their game, lose their game, because if Cincinnati wins that, like I said, if Houston loses to Cleveland, that's one, Cleveland has a playoff spot. The other two teams, because now Houston wouldn't even have Houston wouldn't have the tiebreaker over Cleveland, and and they'll be behind the game. If Cincy wins out, which I find it hard to do because Cincy has Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and Cleveland. Even if the Texans beat the Colts, Buffalo's right behind them, and Buffalo can jump in. And you're talking about Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Buffalo in the playoffs, and not the Texans. So you're going to need somebody else to stub their toe if you lose to the Browns. The only thing that's different is if because Cincinnati plays on Saturday before the Texans, you'll know going into that game, hey, that Cincinnati already stubbed their toe. You're not hoping that Cincinnati stubbed their toe while we playing. It's like you'll be hoping that Buffalo stubs their toe while we playing because they'll play the Chargers that same day, or or somebody else, or you're hoping that Indianapolis stubs their toe. Like if Indianapolis stubs their toe as well, like you'll be hoping that somebody else stubs their toe. And really, Indianapolis win or lose, it doesn't matter because you just got to take care of your business against Indianapolis the last game of the season. And if the Texans win out and Jacksonville loses a game, and Jacksonville loses a game, they play Tampa this week. The Texans actually win the division. That's outside the Texans had a good season, but why the heck would they said? They signed Tim Boyle to bring in another. They signed Tim Boyle. They need another quarterback on the roster as it stands right now. They need another guy on the roster. I guess they need a guy for emergency purposes. I hope that's not. Actually, you actually kind of brought up a good point because I hope that doesn't mean that they feel I even think about that. I even think about the Tim Boyle signing because that might be. Because at first I'm okay with it. When they signed, I mean, when they first signed him, I really didn't pay any attention to it. And now knowing that CJ is not playing, I'm like, okay, maybe they did have the third quarterback on the roster. But the thing is, if CJ comes back, there's no point of even having. Like, yeah, I know you can cut him, but the simple fact because you didn't go out there and get a quarterback last week. You didn't go out there and go get a quarterback last week, and so like I don't know. Now I'm concerned. Now I'm concerned that we signed Tim Ball. Now I'm concerned. Now I'm really concerned. Dang, man. Why is it to tell me that? Why did you have to remind me? You think it's about due for us to beat the Browns? The thing is, we normally beat the Browns. Uh, I mean, we've only lost to them. I know we lost to them last year when Deshaun first came back, and we lost to them in 2020 that game when Deshaun and Baker Mayfield neither one could throw the football because the wind was too bad. But outside of that, I know Deshaun beat him his rookie year. I know Deshaun beat Baker Mayfield's rookie year. So that's both 2017 and 18. I don't think we played each other in 19. I don't think we played each other in 19. So I don't think we played each other in yeah, we didn't play each other in 2021. Uh yeah, we did. We did play in 2021. That's the game Tyrod Taylor got hurt in the beginning of the game. Yeah. Yeah. We Tyrod Taylor game we lost to. Yeah, like that. Yeah, Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, it was the same game of the season because that's when Davis Mill. We was winning in the first half, and we would have beat him if Tyrod Taylor doesn't get hurt. David Mill coming in, we end up losing that game. That second game of the season. So yeah, so we lost 2020, 2021, 2022. So we lost the last 3 years. So I get your point. I get your point. It's been 3 straight years. Like I said we beat them in 2017. We beat them in 2018. I don't remember if we played him in 2016 off the top of my head. 2015. Uh, I know we played Cincinnati in Cincy on Monday night. Did we play the Cleveland Browns? Did we play the Cleveland Browns in 2020? In 2015? We won nine games in 2014. It was second in division behind second in division behind Jacksonville. I mean behind the Colts in 2014. So unless we played the AFC North division, we wouldn't have played them. And I don't think we did because I know we played. I know we played. I know we played the Bengals on Monday Night Football. We played him in 14 because that's we played him in 14 because that was Ryan Mallett first. That was Ryan Mallett first start. Was in 14. That's when JJ had caught that touchdown as a receiver on the Browns, and we beat him. So we beat him in 14. I don't think we played him in 15. I don't think we played him in 16. I can't remember. I can't remember 16 or 15. I know we played him in 17. I know we played him in 17. Yeah, because 17 we played the whole division in 17 because Deshaun's first start was their Thursday night game against the Bengals. We played Pittsburgh on Monday night. And we played Pittsburgh on Christmas Eve. We played the Ravens on Monday night, and then Deshaun played. Yeah, yeah. So we played that whole NFC North in 15. I mean 17, which means we didn't play that division in 15 or 14. I mean 15 or 16. We played the division in 14. We played Pittsburgh on Monday night. We played uh Pittsburgh on Monday night. We played against the game I said when Ron Mallett first started when he threw the touchdown to JJ, and then it's also the same season when Case Keenum, Case Keenum, we got Case Keenum out of a tree on a short week, and he goes in. We beat the Ravens, um, and we played the Bengals. We played the Bengals at home the following game after the Cleveland game because that's the game that Ron Mallett tore his picks. So yeah, so we did. So we played the division. We played the AFC North in 14. We played the AFC North in 14, and then played them again in 17. And we beat Cleveland both times. We beat Cleveland in seven. We beat Cleveland in 14. We beat them in 17, and we beat them in 18. We didn't play them in 19. We lost the last 3 years. We lost 2020, 2021, 2022. You are right. It is about time that we get a win against Cleveland. You absolutely right. I didn't even think about that. You absolutely right. You absolutely right. You would want to see the Bills, honestly. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I would want to see the Bills. Yeah, I feel like the Bills and Miami might be tougher than what people think they can be. I know the Titans beat Miami. If Miami got Tyreek Hill, they're gonna be a dangerous team. They're gonna be a dangerous team without Tyreek Hill. I mean, with Tyreek Hill, I mean, they'll be a dangerous team with Tyreek Hill. In Buffalo, no matter where you see him, if you see him in Buffalo, if you see him in home, like even though Josh Allen can give you the game, like Josh Allen can do his best job to give the game to you. He definitely can, but I don't want to be in that situation, honestly. Like if you want to keep it all the way a buck, you want to keep it all the way 1,000. I wouldn't want to be in that situation anyway. Like I'm not trying to be in that situation where Josh Allen could be a factor. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be in that situation anyway when Josh Allen possibly potentially could be a factor. So it is what it is. It is what it is. If the Texans miss the postseason, it will be because of the Jet game. Yes, same with the Giants. And same with the Giants and the Panthers. We can play the Giants. I don't know what you mean. Same as the Giants. Uh, I mean, if the Texans miss the playoffs, it's the Texans miss the playoffs. They actually don't have. It doesn't have to do with the Jets game. It has more to do like the Jets of games that I won't back. I'm mad at. Uh, um, is the Panthers game. Like the Panthers game is the game that I'm the Panthers game is the game that I'm the most angry at. The worst team in football. You had 2 weeks to prepare, and you came out very lethargic and not ready to play a football game, and you let the worst team in football beat you. No, no, you had 2 weeks to prepare for them. And then second behind that is the Jazz game because that game that game had a lot on the line. Like, that game had a lot on the line. You're not in the situation. I understand. I get you saying the Jets is just the most recent loss, but the Jets was just the most recent loss. But I mean, if you as it stands right now, just for instance, if you just take back the Jazz game, we just take away the Jazz game. That puts you at three. That puts you at nine. And right now, that Jazz game puts you at 9-5. It puts you at 9-5. You have a better record than you have a better record than Jacksonville has right now. If you give me back that Jazz game, if you give me back that Jazz game, and also we were actually in that Jazz game because the Jazz game, okay, whatever it was, That catch to Tank Dell was a catch, by the way. And even like, and if we able to get, if they count that catch, that's a field goal. At the very least, we get a field goal on that drive. We have tied. And the field goal at the end is to win the game. So you talking about the Texans being 9-5, being the 3 seed. No, well, us and Kansas City be tied with the 3 seed. We would have swept Jacksonville. Jacksonville would be 7-7 right now. Jacksonville would be 7-7 right now, and they'll be 3-2 in the division, being swept by us, and we'll be 3-1 in the division right now. We'll be 3-1 division with a game lead over the Indianapolis Colts. So even if we would lose to the Browns, we would still have the division lead, and we would still have a chance to beat the Indianapolis Colts. Because again, if you don't beat the Indianapolis Colts, you don't beat the Indianapolis Colts, you're gonna if you lose the only way you can make the playoffs and lose the Indianapolis Colts is if you win this week and next week and other chaos happens around, like other teams like I said, like Cincinnati loses and then loses to Kansas City. Pittsburgh, even though they won, Pittsburgh loses to what they got, like Seattle, like in Baltimore. Like these other teams start losing around you, and you have because you have tiebreakers over Denver, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. If you beat Cleveland, you don't have a tiebreaker over Cleveland. Only team you don't have a tiebreaker over is the Indianapolis Colts as it stands right now because they beat you. So if they beat you again, they'll have a complete tiebreaker because they swept you. You have a tiebreaker over 1, 2, 3, 4 teams. You have a tiebreaker. Oh, you have a tiebreaker over 4 teams. And there's how many teams vying for 3 spots? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7 teams vying for 3 spots, and you have a tiebreaker over 4 of them. That makes you in the high point to get you in. So if you so again, as it stands right now, if you lose to Cleveland, now you have forced you give a tiebreaker to Cleveland, and you need other things to assume. But not if you lose to the Colts, you can still you lose to the Colts, still make the playoffs. So again, it goes back to previous losses, and like I say, I put the one I'm most mad at is Carolina, because even in that situation, even if you beat Carolina, you have a better record. And to your point, even if you beat Jacksonville, you beat the Jets, you have a better record. But Jacksonville record is still the same. Jacksonville record is the same. I'm talking about if you beat Jacksonville, now they not even 8-6, they 7-7. So that puts the Texans in first place in the South. Texans do control. Like Texas went out the end. The Texans could lose to the Browns if Cincy loses. The Texans still could. Cincy plays first. Cincy plays the Pittsburgh on Saturday. If Pittsburgh beats the Cincinnati Bengals on Saturday, no matter what happens in the Texans Browns game, the Texans still control their destiny. As it stands right now, the Texans control their destiny as it stands right now. If Cincy loses on Saturday, the Texans control their destiny no matter what happens against the Browns. As long as they win the last 2 games, they in. And again, if they went out and the Jags lose 1 game, the Texans normally control their destiny, they win their division. They have a shot against the Browns. Joe Flacco. Exactly. That's what I was saying earlier, that he does put the ball in the field of play, and I'm gonna need my secondary. Like I said, they was able to knock down. They were able to knock down 5 passes. The DBs, our safety, and our 2 corners combined all had 2 pass deflections apiece. Now, one of those pass deflections was an interception. So you're able to knock down the ball 5 times and take 1 away out of 6 attempts. So the Texans need to get their hands on the football on defense a little bit more. and also not only turn those into turnovers, but turn those turnovers into points. And I'm not talking about threes. They need to turn those turnovers into they turn those turnovers into touchdowns. Need to we need some defensive points. Especially if we're going out there with KC, then we really need some defensive points. We'll see. We'll see that. We'll see exactly how they'll do it. We'll see exactly how D'Amico draws up the game plan, who he has cover who. Uh, I think it's gonna be another good chess game. We're gonna see exactly what D'Amico Ryans has in store. See exactly what D'Amico Ryans has in store. Like I said, appreciate everybody that came through. Appreciate all the love, all the comments, all the likes. If you ain't hit the like button already, make sure you hit that like button right now. Go right now, hit that like button. If you ain't hit it, make sure you hit that like button. Like I said, make sure you be tuned in for my make sure you tune in to my videos throughout the week. Going live again on Friday, 8:15. We'll actually preview the game. We go into even deeper dive, more in depth, and improving in the previewing this game. We're gonna talk about. We're gonna break it down exactly the keys to the game, what can happen, what needs to happen, what should happen, what might happen, and exactly what needs to be done. Make sure you tune in to Soft Sports all week at 7 o'clock, and me on Friday at 8:15. My boy Honcho and Sauce doing a pregame before the game on Sunday. And then after the game, I know it's Christmas Eve. I know it's gonna be the weather outside is frightful. I know y'all gonna be out there singing Christmas carols and making snowmans and gingerbread houses. But tune in to your boy right after the game, right here, right after the game. We're gonna break down exactly what happened. So make sure y'all tune in to the game. Make sure y'all tune in to me right after the game. Make sure y'all tune into it, man. You know what I'm saying? And got other videos coming. Even though it's gonna be Christmas break. Don't worry, your boy still gonna be out here working hard, man. Make sure I can get some content to y'all. So make sure y'all have something to watch, man. But appreciate everybody coming through, showing all the love and all the support. I definitely appreciate that. Appreciate all that. Uh, make sure you show continue to show all love. Like, share, subscribe, comment below, click that bell, get more videos. I holla.